It's about that time, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Run it to your friends. Come on.
Come on. Come
But
on.
it's a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is tight. Sinclair is on the mic.
Once again, it's on. You're still trouble in your home. Got you tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send your letters to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions because we speak that truth. Sometimes you doubt yourself, lost your health. Faith is on the fence, but you believe that Jesus knows your well. Keep it moving, spirit flowing because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday 8 and 9 and it's on. Once again, it's on. You're listening to the only morning show when people at night. That's right. This is the Sinclair Show coming to you live because it's on and time for us to have a little dialogue. First, I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions and comments to Sinclair Talk at Outlook.com. We're going to continue to cover your thoughts and your emotions and the things that go on in your mind. Each night we're on the air because we want to reach you, the valued listener. And how is it that you all are the valued listeners? Because without you, I could be somewhere resting right now. But y'all been rolling with me for so long, for years and years. So it is my duty to come up here and spend a little time with y'all each week. And let me start off by saying this. Yes, indeed, there's been it seemed like every time you turn on the TV now, you got something happening. And for me, I think tonight tonight we got a good topic, and I'm gonna tell y'all it's funny how this topic came up. I was actually sitting around in a little mini group, if you will, and as I was having dialogue with I think it was about 4 or 5 people, could have been a extra 1 or 2, if you will, but it was at least 4 or 5. And one of the people in the group, she was a lady in the group, and she was talking, and like most gossipers, if you will, she was beginning to talk about what her plans was. And what made the conversation interesting is because when the lady came in, and for the purposes of this conversation, I'll say young lady, because of the group of people, she was probably the youngest, but she was probably nearly 30. If she may have been 30, but if not, she was close to it. But I can say that because, I'm a old school, if you will. But anyway, so we in there, we chit-chatting just about life and general things. What's up, James Keith? Glad to see you in the house today. And so as we sitting up having this dialogue, the young lady began talking about her plans for the upcoming weekend. And we knew it must have been something, because while we see this person from time to time in our little circle of acquaintances, if you will, this particular time she had her hair done different, had some colors in it, a color, if you will. I think it was somewhat of a blondish color. And so as we noticed, and for me, this first time I ever seen her. Now the rest of the circle of acquaintances say that, they're used to seeing her from time to time with a little dab of makeup on, a little lipstick, a little eyes done with her. The things that sometimes ladies do. But today she had her Beyonce Cole's hairdo going. And so it started us to asking, well, what made you want to go down the road of why'd you get yourself all dolled up, if you will? And so she started talking about her upcoming weekend. And she was talking about she was about to go to some place. And the place was, I think she said she was going to Tybee Island or something like that. She going to some little place on a little date, right? So, like most people, we clowning because we all cool like that. But as we're talking, you know, uh me and the big homie, we start having dialogue and we're trying to give some advice, because I'm asking regular questions like, who you going down there with? Old old brother, old big brother type questions that ain't really none of my business. Beverly Key, what's going on? Glad to see you. So it wasn't any of my business, but we got the type of camaraderie in our circle of acquaintances where I could ask that type of question. So I asked her, and she started talking, and she claims that the guy she is going with, she's been seeing for, let's say, 6 months, right? But he lives in a different state, and I guess once a month she goes down there, and this must be their month to meet up at the meeting spot, if you will. So they going on a little weekend date. And as we're talking, I think when you get old, and I'm old by some people's standards, when you get old, you always in protective mode. So I said to her, I said, well, hey, do any of your family do y'all got the little app where you can track each other? Because you don't need to be going on no little rendezvous, if you will, with a dude that you've been knowing for about 6 months. And so we just going through all of the little regular, clowning type things. But we get to talking, and somehow at the ending of the conversation, it triggers us to a place where myself and a couple of other people, we start asking questions. And y'all know I will ask just about any type of question, because I'm always trying to absorb information that might help me either in my role as a counselor or just in general when I'm communicating with people. So I asked the question. I was like, well, just out of curiosity, how did you go about meeting this dude, whatever? And she starts talking. And in full disclosure, if we were talking about a scale of, just what a person looks like or whatever. But matter of fact, I won't even go there yet. I'll come back to that. But the bottom line is, she started talking about the things that attracted her to this guy, and so because she is younger and I was listening to her, I was actually amazed, because most younger women that I have seen they don't talk like that as it relates to from a relationship perspective. And she was saying things like, if I meet somebody and I find them to be nice, I'm not really concerned about how much money they earn or what they got. I want them to have, I think she even used a phrase. She said, whatever dude she's with, all he has to do is, have a job and have some goals, and so, me, I'm like, well, what exactly does that mean to somebody in your demographic, your age demographic? And so she was like, while I ain't just readily looking for somebody that works at McDonald's, if I found somebody who was working at McDonald's, as long as he wasn't comfortable staying on fries, if he had a goal that one day he might wind up in upper management, if you will, she said, I could still rock with that type of dude. Because, and so we keep talking and talking. And so I came to the point where actually learning a lot from her about the mind of younger people. But I began to wonder, and I asked her the question. I said, of your circle of acquaintances that are not right here, but like your homegirls and stuff, do they feel the same way you feel as it relates to their mindset about finding a man and being in relationships? So the young lady said, nah. She was like, Some of them are she didn't use the word ratchet, but she did describe them as when they are out looking for a dude, they want somebody who I believe the phrase that she used was they looking for somebody that doesn't work a 9 to 5, somebody that is a business owner, this and that. So, I don't have a problem when people got goals and dreams, but I started asking, Sinclair show type questions like, so what do your friends do for a living for themselves? So she said one of the ones that has that type of attitude doesn't have a job. So I'm thinking to myself, hold up. Are you telling me that there are individuals out there who are looking for relationships with others who are either business owners or at the top of the proverbial food chain when it comes to employment and salary? They are looking for somebody with that kind of resume, if you will, but they ain't got no job. So she was like, yeah. And I was like, wow. Because I began to ponder in my own mind. I thought birds of a feather flock together. So I was trying to understand, how are you, if that's not your mindset, how are you hanging out with people with that mindset? But I digress about that. But I began to ask even greater questions, because I was like, okay, so you got people in your crew that want somebody that's that high up on the fiscal food chain, if you will, career-wise, but they don't even have a job. And I said, well, how many of your acquaintances think like that? And she gave a significant quantity. And so I want to begin tonight with us talking about modern dating, if you will. What are the expectations? And is there a difference between what men are looking for and what women are looking for? Because for me to hear somebody say that in an age bracket, let's say 25 to 30, that there are young women in this case, but I'm pretty sure that we'll learn whatever men be thinking too. But you out here in these proverbial streets and you're looking for somebody who either has their own business and or is at the higher end of the financial gaining of employment, but you don't have a job at all. Now, y'all know that this is going to, at some point, make me go down the rabbit hole of how do you ask somebody to bring more to the relationship table than what you have to offer, but we'll get there. We're not there yet. And I don't want you to think that this thing that we're talking about tonight is somehow gender-based, because it's not. But this is about a trend, if you will. And I want some of you old school seasoned women to chime in, but I'm talking about a trend of individuals who are dating, who are looking for a significant other who is already accomplished something and at a certain platform. And it doesn't matter if it's male or female, but first and foremost, why would that person I can see, and I don't want no pitchforks coming out. I can see why a individual who has not accomplished as much career-wise would want to be in a relationship with somebody who has. I understand the dichotomy of that mindset. What I don't understand is, why do you believe somebody who has accomplished it would want to be in a relationship with someone who has not? And y'all can chime in if you want to, okay? But I want y'all to know where I'm going, because it doesn't make sense that a person believes themselves to be the catch of a lifetime and they at the starting gate of life, meaning you are only bringing to the table whatever tools you have been given by God, if you will, meaning attitude, looks, whatever your God-given talent is, whatever that may be. You want to come to the table with that, but you want to be at the table with somebody who has harnessed those skills and utilized them to put themselves in a fiscally solid position. Why would they want to be with somebody who has not? And it could be young lady looking at a man. It could be a young man looking at a older cougar, if you will. I just don't understand what's the trade-off. What would make a person who has already established some level of life success want to go back to scratch, proverbially speaking? Why would they want to go back to scratch? And so I want y'all to ponder that for a minute. But in the meantime, let's talk about a few things to put this in perspective. I believe that economic and social shifts have played a role, because historically there was a point when women were not, and this was many, many moons ago, as old people might say, were not as plentiful in the workplace, but there was a shift. And as things shifted over the years, it became to the point where it went from being almost equal to them being the largest sector. Now, modern economic pressures and relationship expectations. Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about high cost of living, inflation, instability, influence, and how it influences dating preferences. Some women and some men associate financial stability with emotional security, meaning there are some, and it doesn't matter about the gender, although one might argue that there are some probably more women that feel that way than men, that if they are dealing with somebody who has financial stability, then they are emotionally secure, provided that that person is the type of individual who, because just because somebody is financially secure doesn't mean that they are, some people are not the sharing type, if you will. So let's just leave it at that. Influence of social media and the luxury culture. Someone wanting to feel like they are cared for, but doesn't want to give up their independence. Now, that's one I want to talk a little bit about. First and foremost, when someone is there are significant amounts of women in the workforce who earn a good to great living, and they want to be in what they consider to be a good relationship, a nurturing relationship, but because they have worked so hard to get wherever they are in the financial ladder, the corporate ladder, if you will, they're not fond of the concept of, in order for me to have a successful relationship means that I've got to temper my independence, if you will. So my first question tonight is, Does being in a successful relationship require one to balance independence with a new relationship? And if you want to know what I mean by that and from a deeper perspective, is it possible for two type A personalities to find success in a relationship? Because most type A personality people are, they have a certain drive, they have a certain need to be at the head of the pack, if you will. And is it possible for two people with that same mentality to have a successful relationship? Or do we normally find situations where being in that type of relationship has downfalls because one or the other doesn't want to back from that role? Matter of fact, who is normally the more aggressive in relationships, men or women? Anyone? Someone said that men are normally the more dominant and aggressive. Okay, here we go. Somebody else said women are. That's 3 for men, 1 for a woman. All right, y'all keep sending your responses. Well, let me begin by saying this. I think from an emotional standpoint that women who have a type A personality are more likely to be that way in relationships and have a tougher time relinquishing that that top of the food chain that they've been at, and that they had to adopt that mentality to move up, whether it's the corporate ladder or based on the fact that they are the primary care providers in the home or otherwise. Men are normally, well, let me rewind that. Men are often okay with the optics of relinquishing some of the proverbial dog at the front of the pack mentality, as long as when the subject matter becomes, when there is something greater on the line, that man or men in general who may from time to time in a lesser severe situation, they might be cool about, well, okay, if it makes you feel good to think you in charge, that's fine. But when there is something on the line of significance, normally that type A dominant male personality is going to come out, and that leaves some challenges in the relationship, especially if you have allowed the other person to feel like they were in charge most of the time. Now, I know y'all don't like that, but we're talking about the things that are associated with relationships and success. Because remember, this started because I was listening to a young lady who was talking about, hey, mama, what's going on? Yeah, there go my mama. And I want y'all to understand that the mindset is different. There cannot be in any company, in any relationship, while we all love to feel like that there can be equal branches of government in our lives, whether it's work or relationship, the fact of the matter is it can't. It can never, ever, ever be. Y'all see how it works for Congress. You will never have, even though our founding fathers believed that by having the Supreme Court system, the House and the Senate and the presidency, that you would have 3 co-equal branches of government. It is not. And it will not be in your personal lives either. Because there will always be situations where someone will have to make a decision when people are not in total agreement. And I want y'all to understand that I'm not choosing who should and who should not be. Okay. Although I have my own personal opinions about it, I want you to understand that when you're talking about successful relationships, it's just like trying to have a successful company. You cannot have two CEOs. In your organization, the CEO is the highest position. The one immediately under that is known as the COO or Chief Operating Officer. Then you got your Chief Financial Officer. The bottom line is that if you are in a relationship and the man, what's going on, Essie Shepherd? Glad to see you tonight. The man has a type A personality and the woman, if they don't come to a decision about who is at the top of the food chain, they will always have some altercations, verbal or otherwise. Now, I did a little survey today. I asked a few questions and I got some feedback. And one of the questions that I asked, Annie Moore, what's going on? Glad to see you. I asked the question, what do women want in relationships? Just a question. The answers that I got in some capacity were women want to be emotionally safe and they want to be able to have vulnerability. Being emotionally safe is often at the top of the list. They express their need to be able to let their guard down and not always have to be the strong one. Now, in fairness, the respondents to these, I'm assuming, could be wrong, were probably minority females. The phrase, they want to be able to let their guard down and not always have to be the strong one. Is there a reason why, America, is there a reason why women feel like in relationships they have to be the strong one? Big Rod, what's going up? Glad to see you, big dog. Yeah, and this is their answers. They said they want to be able to let their guard down and not always have to be the strong one. They want a partner who listens, understands their lived experience, and doesn't minimize their struggles. Okay, what exactly does that mean? You don't always want to be the strong one. You want to let your guard down. Well, when you first meet a person, provided that you're not introducing them to your alter ego, if you will, when letting your guard down with somebody, let me see. Big Rod said they want their independence, but want you to listen to them. Okay, Big Rod then spoke up. Wise man that he is. He's saying what that means is, see, and the thing for me is you want to let your guard down. Well, what's the reason that you have your guard up? Because I would dare to say individuals who say they have their guard up is generally because you are measuring the person that you are dealing with in front of you based on a standard of what the person behind you did. Now, I know some of y'all ain't gonna like that, but I'll say it again. If you meet someone, if you're trying to begin a friendship or go into a relationship, whatever, however you want to phrase it, If you have your guard up, it's because you are measuring the new person that you have met based on the things that the person behind you has did. And the sad part about it is nobody, regardless of their gender, wants to be judged that way. First thing women will tell a man, I'm not like every other woman in your past, so don't compare me to them. Now, the first thing that man is probably thinking in his mind is every woman in my past told me the same thing you said. Big Rod said, drive the relationship from the back seat and bring all their bad luggage with them. The man will never be right. Woo, Big Rod is on fire tonight. And I want y'all to understand, Big Rod is very, very close in what he's saying to how most men at least feel. I don't see no women voicing their opinion, so we're going to just go off what is being put. Think about it. If you meet someone and you're already on high alert, you're not ready to meet someone. That might sound crazy to you, but I want you to think about it. If I got to come to you, if I get out my car and I walk up somewhere and I already got my pistol in my hand instead of holstered on my side, what that tells me is I'm not ready to be around regular people, because it either tells me that or it tells me I'm somewhere I ain't got no business being. Because if you jump out your car and you put your gun in your hand, you're saying, one, I don't feel safe, or I believe that the people around me could potentially want to do me harm. It's the same thing in a relationship. If you are out here putting yourself on the relationship market and you got your guard up, you don't want nobody to be able to take advantage of you. You don't want nobody to hurt you. You don't want this and this and that. You need to get right back in your house, lock your doors, and sit in there until you don't see the world as a scary place anymore. I'm just saying. Because it doesn't make mental sense for somebody to come in your life where you're already looking at them with the side eye because you believe they could potentially be trying to take advantage of you. Now, let me say this. As a matter of principle, and I'm not trying to be funny, because some people say I'm always trying to say a little slick comment, but I'm really not. But let me say this. Most of the people out here in listening land, you don't have enough that somebody is going to waste time trying to take advantage of you. Gwendolyn, Lady Elegance, Pritchard down there in Huntsville, Alabama. Gwendolyn, I'm coming to see you. I'm about to jump in the car. I'm coming to Huntsville, Alabama. But I want y'all to get this. And I want y'all to get this and understand, I mean no disrespect, but sometimes people got to tell you something to make you open up your eyes. If you live in a world where you're scared or you're assuming that out here in the dating public that someone is trying to take advantage of you, so you have your proverbial guard up. Oh, Josephine Marie. Talking about no, you ain't. I want you to understand, if you are trying to be in a relationship and you got your guard up, go back inside your shelter, lock the doors and windows, and stay there until you are emotionally ready to see people for regular folks. Because it be people that don't have anything. And when I say anything, let me be clear. In order for you to believe somebody is trying to take advantage of you, you must have something that they don't have. A person is not, if all you got is a bowl of soup, and so the person you are fearful is trying to take advantage of you, they got a bologna sandwich. Your bowl of soup is no greater than that bologna sandwich to them. I mean, come on now. What are they going to get from you? Most people got bills and bad attitudes. So to think that, and it be those people that's out here emotionally unstable about a relationship, talking about, I got to keep my guard up around him or her. For what? What are they going to get? And I know we all like to see ourselves as being some magical prize, but if you crazy as all get out, if you got a bunch of problems, a bunch of kids, if you got baby daddy or baby mama drama, if everything in your life is a state of shambles, what is the person going to get from you other than a headache? And it's not gender-based. It's dudes the same way. Man, I ain't finna let no woman take advantage of me. From what? What do you really have that would make a person want to invest 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years? You really think, and I want y'all to listen. I know some of y'all gonna be mad about the show and y'all gonna be in your feelings, but I gotta call a spade, because just when you start talking about stuff, sometimes y'all don't ask yourselves real questions. What in the Sam Blazing Hills do you think you have that somebody is going to go through all that comes with being with you to get what? I need to know what they gonna get. That $1,900 you've been saving for 6 years in the bank? Man, please. What, they gonna come get your car? Because you got a nice car? Let me tell you something. If you got a nice car, they know they can't get it fixed. The average person got their own car that they like before they met you. Fellas, I don't believe a woman is out there looking at you because you got such a nice ride. Ladies, if you are, let me turn you on to something. If you want that dude because he got a 2025, whatever it is, or he got something with the little emblem on it that looks like a Mercedes or whatever kind of upscale vehicle y'all be attracted to, he also got a payment on it. Sometimes y'all can't be in successful relationships because you think that you the grand prize and that somebody is always trying to manipulate life to get you or get what you got. But what is it that you have? Oh, Big Rod, what you say, Big Rod? Big Rod said, from experience, people who do the least expect the most. Say it again, Big Rod. And again, I'm not judging. We got into this conversation because of a group conversation that was taking place, and I told them, so I ain't bring this to you, the people tonight, without letting them know. But I want y'all to get it through your minds that when you are saying, I want to, ladies, if you're saying I want to be able to be with a man and let my guard down, I don't want to have to be the strong one. Who are you the strong one for? Maybe you ain't asking enough questions. What drew you to a dude that was soft enough that was going to let you be in charge? You wanted somebody that'll let you just dominate them and tell them what to do and act the absolute fool. But then when you need him to step up and be a alpha and take the lead and do grown man things, he can't do it. But you didn't want that at first. You wanted somebody that you could tell what to do. Fellas, it ain't just them. Y'all stupid too. Y'all be doing ridiculous stuff. You want that fine girl that acts like she just out of it, that, you know, or y'all want them ones that be fighting with y'all, that gives you, got a little bit of a kickback, if you will. You want somebody like Frank's Red Hot Sauce. Yeah, they got a little kick to it. But then when stuff get tough in your life and she's still out here barking and acting the fool at you, now you talking about, man, I'm getting sick and tired of her and her attitude. She had that attitude when you met her. because she had her hair done, nails done, eyes done, face done, eyelashes, waist, a tight outfit on. You look past the craziness in her. You look past the attitude in her. You look past the part that ain't never satisfied with nothing that you say or do. You look past the fact that she would challenge everything that you said because she was cute, because she was attractive. She was feisty then. Now she a problem. No, she the same person. The next thing somebody said was that people want partnership and reciprocity. They're often looking for a teammate, someone who sees the relationship as a shared journey and not just a traditional provider-protector setup, meaning they want shared responsibility, being present, emotionally contributing, not just financially. Ladies, let me let you in on a little secret. When you keep saying you want somebody who is emotionally contributing, men in general who are regular men do not sit around all day thinking of a way to shed a tear for you to make you comfortable that they understand how you feel. It is not in our DNA. By nature, men are solution driven. Get it through your heads. A real man, in his core, is not sitting around wanting to hear that everything in your life is problematic. We only want to know what's wrong, what's the major issue. Give me a few minutes, I'll come up with a solution. And then we want you to be smart enough and comfortable enough to accept the solution. Y'all talking about y'all want somebody that is present and emotionally contributing. I got ladies up here tonight. Ladies, tell me, what does emotionally contributing mean to you all? I'll wait. Because that's the problem. Get out your feelings. Some of y'all in your feelings 24/7, 365. It is impossible for you to find a man who is at the top of his game, who is a leader, who is doing something with his life, both spiritually, professionally, or otherwise. Ladies, if y'all find a dude, you're not going to find somebody who has got his spiritual A game together that's sitting around the house crying with you. Because God ain't never told no man to be sitting around here whimpering and whining. Matter of fact, man that don't work, don't eat. He can't be at work crying with you on the phone. You wearing the absolute fool out of him because he's not emotionally connected enough for you. Have you ever thought that maybe you're too emotional? Everything bothers you. Everything got you up in arms. And I'm saying what Big Rod said, we want to fix it and not dwell on things. It doesn't take all day to talk about the same thing. Tell them, Big Rod, tell them. And that's the honest truth, man. Sometimes, and we can't say it because we know if we said it, it would make y'all feel some kind of way. But ladies, I'm going to say it for your man. Sometimes your man just wants you to shut up. He doesn't want to hear that every single thing is problematic. It can't be. You can't do nothing. You go to the store, you complain about the store. You go to work, you complain about work. You go to church, you complain about that. You go hang out with your girls, you complaining about them. It's got to be you. You can't find nothing nowhere that you ain't complaining about. Well, let me rephrase that. Some of y'all will complain about everything except for your bad kids. You ain't gonna complain about them. Them suckers right there, you happy with them because you don't care what they absolute act a fool with. But let us keep going. They say they want respect and affirmation. Respect goes beyond politeness. It's about valuing their intellect, ambition, culture, and choices. Affirmation of her beauty, especially in a world that doesn't always celebrate Black features, Her voice and her contribution is key. Listen to that. I'll say it again. They're saying that women want respect and affirmation. Respect goes beyond just you being polite. It's about valuing her intellect, ambition, culture, and choices. Affirmation of her beauty, especially in a world that doesn't always celebrate Black features. Woo, that's a mouthful. So let me tell you this. First and foremost, respect is something that is given and earned. The average man will give respect for free just on general purpose, just because he wants to get in your space. But make no mistake about it. When you start acting the fool, talking foolish, the average man loses the ability to respect an opinion that is always emotionally driven. Big Rod didn't ask the question. Big Rod said, but with all that said, what is the man getting in return? I don't even. Big Rod, you trying to put me in the proverbial doghouse. But you got a point. Ladies, understand something. Respect is based on how you perceive his or her actions. Nobody is inside of your head but you. I'll give you a prime example. I was talking to somebody and they asked me a question. They said, listen, and I'm assuming they was asking a question because of me being a counselor. They said I think they went to the gym or whatever. And they were having a conversation with their significant other. And their significant other asked the question, who'd you go to the gym with? And so the guy was like, why would you ask that question? And apparently she said, well, I just asked it. And he was like, but nothing that we were talking about, did I ever say that I was at the gym with somebody? I go to the gym all the time. Why would she ask me who did I go to the gym with? And because he was taken back by that question, it started what he said was an entire argument because he felt some kind of way that he couldn't even share that he had went to the gym and was getting his workout on without there being some accusatory, which then, according to him, led to the conversation about, if you're just trying to see somebody else, let me know in advance. So I think that, ladies, you are, in some cases, not all, but you can be so emotionally driven that you don't even know that you are potentially starting some type of confrontation. Because even in that situation, if a man says he's at the gym, he's talking to you from the gym, unless you rolled by the gym and saw him talking with some of the fellas or a female or something, what would even make you ask the question, who did you go to the gym with? It's like sometimes y'all sit up and think about the weirdest questions that you know are going to start something. And if you're doing it to drive dialogue, find a better way. Now, I know some of you all going to say, well, that's because some of us that had a bad experience. We done had men that said they were going to work out and they went to some female house and this. It is people of all denominations and genders who that has happened to. And I submit to you all, if people could be honest with each other, it wouldn't even be an issue. But your man or your woman can't come to you and tell you that I am going to hang out with Susan or I'm going to hang out with Todd. Marcus, what's going on? because I need some space from you, because when I come here, you're acting an absolute fool, because I want to go somewhere and have a conversation with somebody who isn't pressuring me for what is the meaning of life every time we have some dialogue. You can't handle somebody saying, Big Rod said it's called self-sabotage. Go, Big Rod, go. You can't handle somebody telling you the truth that you're the reason why that they go talk with somebody else. It ain't somebody going to find somebody to sleep with. And get that out your mind. Every time somebody doing something, they ain't trying to find nobody to sleep with. Let me start by saying that. Many of y'all ain't worth sleeping with no way. I'm just going to put it out there. But some of y'all got good conversation. And some of the people that is on the other side of your pillow has zero conversation. Your life has gotten to the point where all you see is where we at, what are we going to do, what's the meaning of life? You know, first of all, let me say this. Ladies, y'all done already said y'all love for somebody to reinforce how they feel about you. The question you should be asking yourself is, how do you feel about you? Nobody should have to tell you you fine every day. Nobody should have to tell you that they love you 5 times a day. Nobody should have to stroke your ego for you to feel like a human being, because if that's the case, the problem is inside of you. You want that man to get out here and earn 6 figures. He cannot earn 6 figures sitting on the phone with you, making you feel good about you. Do you think I'm cute? I'm with you, ain't I? Do you think I'm beautiful? Depends on what day it is. Every day you ain't the finest. Some days you walking around and intentionally looking a hot mess. Why does your man have to lie to you? Same thing with women. If you got a man that's all the time tells he's the greatest, ain't nobody the greatest every day. I know what y'all doing. Y'all in your feelings. But I'm just telling you like it is. See, when you start talking about relationships, the question is, are you ready to be in a relationship? Or do you just want to be? And why do you want to be in a relationship? That's another question. And what type of relationship do you want to be in? Most people don't even understand it. Man, when you just kicking it with somebody, y'all the best of friends. When you say you're dating them, y'all still cool. But you start drawing the lines in the sand. Marcus said, would you love me if I was a caterpillar? Marcus said he hate them questions. Most men do. But why is it that the relationship is so grandiose when you just kicking it with somebody, but you start raising all types of foolishness and putting mental and emotional threats on a person 24 hours a day? You know what? If you ain't gonna do this and if you ain't gonna do that, I'm gonna tell you something. Most of you ladies, if you had better attitudes, somebody already would have swooped you up. But some of you, what you do is you are very good women with very bad attitudes, toting around luggage from your hurt and pain and other demised relationships. And you drag that everywhere. And every time somebody says something that you done heard before, you got triggers. Listen, nobody is looking to be in a relationship where they got to tiptoe around your triggers. I didn't give you the triggers. I ain't dancing around them. And I want y'all to factor this. And this gonna hurt some of y'all. You need to understand that the same way you wanted her or him at the beginning of the relationship, somebody else wants them too. So while you sitting around here thinking you can threaten your way into a solid relationship, you are simply making a person choose the other person or the other people, or to not be in a relationship, or to not be in a certain type of relationship because they can find peace without you. You're supposed to be the medicine, not the sickness. Some of y'all, every single day, you just unhappy with life. And again, we go back to the question. The question being, what do you bring to the table to get what you think you're entitled to? You want somebody who is ready for you, but you're not ready for them. You're ready for a person, but not that person. You're ready for to be in a relationship, but not a solid relationship. You're not built for peace because you done spent your whole life at war. Every time you got somebody in your life, you give you a good 12 months or less, you're going to mess it up. And it ain't me. Why? Because everybody in your circle tells you that it ain't you. Well, let's figure out why they do that. Birds of a feather flock together. You'll never see somebody who is not miserable hanging out with a group of miserable people because they can't take it. They fundamentally cannot take being in the presence of somebody who whines and complains and is always telling you something negative. You know what? Half of y'all done lost relationships because of the people that you were around wouldn't tell you the truth. I'm keeping it a stack. You got people in your circle that won't tell you the truth. That is you. That you're unreasonable. That all you do is complain. That you don't bring enough to the table. If all you bring to the table, let me say this, and I ain't picking on nobody, but I'm going to say this. If you don't bring anything to the table that him or her can't do for themselves, what you can't leverage that. If you wash clothes, if a woman wash clothes and a man wash clothes, it cancels out. If a woman cooks and a man cooks, it cancels out. If a woman cleans and a man cleans, it cancels out. What are you bringing to the table that him or her don't already have is the question. Because other than that, why do you think you could come with a bad attitude? And that's because a bad body ain't nothing. Most people up here tell you, you got women that like big dudes, women that like little dudes, men that like big girls, men that like little girls. You ain't gonna ever convince somebody that the sky's the limit because you got a bad body or a cute face. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's just like somebody to go out there and get a brand new car. After they done drove that car for 6 months, it's a car. It ain't a brand new car. So what you bring into the table that makes it of value to that person, not to you. And we in a society now where a lot of y'all don't cook. Y'all don't do nothing. But when that young lady said today that there's people in her group, it's young ladies in her group that don't have a job or got a job where they're not making that much money, but they want somebody who doesn't even work a 9 to 5. They want somebody that's at the top of the corporate food chain. Why would somebody at the top of the corporate food chain want to be with somebody who doesn't have anything at all? That's a hustle backwards. And I know what y'all saying, some of y'all in your feelings, but let's tell you the truth. If you got a daughter and she has risen to the heights of success in her career, ain't no way you're going to tell her to go find some dude with no job. You're not going to tell your son, if he makes it to the top of the professional food chain, you're not going to tell him to go find a girl that ain't doing nothing with herself. Who in the Sam Blazing Hills want to go back to scratch? Rebecca Wiggins Brown, glad to see you. And I'm not saying this picking on nobody, but we need to call a spade because most of you all are relationship deficient. You want something in your life that you are not to the same type of person. That's facts. You want somebody that listens to you, but you don't listen to nobody. You want somebody that loves you unconditionally, but everything about your life is conditional based. You want somebody that'll take care of you, but you can't take care of nobody. You want somebody that'll lift you up and make you feel like a queen, but you don't realize that in order to have the title of a queen, you must have a king. You don't even understand it. You are saying you want these things. Most of you women out there that's got a son have talked to your son about a certain type of woman because you don't want your son to be taken advantage of. Most of you who have daughters have get a laundry list of things. Girl, when you out there looking for a man, you need to find you a man that got something going on by himself. You need to be telling your daughters, make sure you got something going on with yourself. Nobody cares how cute you are. Listen, I watch YouTube and I have seen women who look crazy, I don't know what, with no makeup on. They turn into absolute stars with makeup. So you can't entice nobody. A real man or a real woman is not going to be embedded in how you look, because a grown man and a grown woman understand that looks don't last forever. At a certain point, you have to have some sustenance about you. And if you think that you're going to hold on to a man that you caught when you was 30 because you still cute, if your attitude doesn't match it, if your altitude and your aptitude doesn't match it, he's not going to stick around, because don't nobody want to be around somebody raising hell all the time. Look, people, I got to go. It's 9 o'clock. Y'all can go back and rewind the show, but we're going to talk later. I got to get up out of here. But I want y'all to keep that in mind. Think about, when it comes to relationships, are you built for one and are you ready for one? And that's real talk.
It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. The Sinclair Show is on.